Hey everybody, welcome to video number 2 in our thyroid series. In the first video we talked about why patients can experience thyroid symptoms even if they are on medication or off medication, or what, with our lab tests being abnormal or normal. In other words, the areas of malfunction are not being accurately measured and affected with simply medication and simply the lab test that most doctors are running. So in this video, we're going to begin the process of explanation. So if you didn't watch the first video, please go back and watch that. It's important that you watch these in sequence. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the metabolic pathway, the basics. So the hypothalamus is where it all begins. The hypothalamus is the part of the brain that controls a lot of the regulatory functions. So for example, if you have a bacterial infection in your body, the hypothalamus elevates your body's temperature to help kill that bacteria. If you are watching your iPad or your iPhone or your electronic device at night and you've got the blue light going on, that stimulates the pineal gland in the brain, which then will stimulate the hypothalamus and make you think it's daylight outside, make your brain think it's daylight outside. It can actually lead to insomnia. The hypothalamus controls the sleep-wake cycle. Hypothalamus controls sexual desire. Hypothalamus controls our appetite. It controls all these different functions of the body. And the way it does that is through a feedback mechanism. So the hypothalamus is in your brain, and your brain sends signals to your body. And then your body, in turn, sends signals back to your brain. So it's a constant, ongoing communication process. So the hypothalamus is in part of that process of sending the signals out, what we call the efferent, but it's also a part of the afferent, which is reading the signals coming back from the body. So keep that in mind because that's going to be very important. So the hypothalamus picks up on levels of T4 in the brain, in the body. Okay, T4 is the thyroid hormone. So if your T4 level is low, that's going to stimulate your hypothalamus to release thyrotrophin releasing hormone to the pituitary gland. Your pituitary gland will then release TSH, which you're all probably familiar with, to the thyroid gland, and then thyroid will then release T4 and T3. Okay, so that's the basic metabolic pathway. So if you're having symptoms of hypothyroidism and you go to the doctor, let's say you have weight gain, cold intolerance, you can't lose the weight, brain fog, all these different things, depression, all these different things that we associate with thyroid condition, hair is falling out. You go to the doctor, you say, hey, these are concerning me, can you test my thyroid? Doctor runs your thyroid test. He may find elevated TSH. So if your TSH is elevated, that means that your T4 is low. Okay, so if you have low T4, that's going to signal the hypothalamus that you need more T4, so it's going to begin this process to elevate TSH to stimulate the thyroid to make more T4. So that's why elevated TSH equals low thyroid function. So if that is found on your test, chances are pretty strong your doctor's going to put you on Synthroid or levothyroxine, or Armour or Nature Thyroid or something like that. But if they put you on Synthroid or levothyroxine, any of these thyroid medications, these medications are synthetic T4. So artificially, they're going to raise this level so that it's no longer low. Now it gets within probably a normal range, maybe even a little bit high. That then stimulates the hypothalamus and says, hey, hypothalamus, there's plenty of T4, so the hypothalamus will discontinue the signal of the thyrotrophin releasing hormone, and your TSH level will quite often go down. It may even go to a low level. Then, in that theory, that's the medical model. So now your lab values are normal, your T4 level probably somewhat normal. So when you go back to the doc and you've been on your medication for 90 days, they run the labs, everything looks like it should, then you should be functioning fine. However, if you're still having thyroid symptoms, if you're still having the fatigue, the weight gain, the brain fog, all these different things, if you're still having these issues, then that's where the doctor will come in and say, okay, this isn't a thyroid issue, we got that under control, maybe you're dealing with some depression, maybe we should look at antidepressants, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the limitation of what the medical model can address. Now from here, we're going to get into the details that go further into this, and you'll understand why you can still be having symptoms even if your lab values are normal. Now this is an example of somebody who is on Synthroid. What if you went to the doctor and you're having all these thyroid issues, but when the doc runs your labs, your T4 is fine. It's totally normal. And everything here is running the way it should be. Nothing is elevated, nothing is out of range. So if that happens, then the doc is likely going to say, okay, this is not a thyroid issue, it's all in your mind. Then you start talking antidepressants. So it's the end result either way. You're looking at antidepressants or you're looking at, support that's not actually getting you to the goal. So in the next video, we're going to start explaining why you can still feel poorly even with normal lab values, whether those normal lab values came from medication or if they came from just the natural state of your body. Okay, so we'll see you in the next video.